Chapter 6. New Ideological and Religious Development. Buddhism. Buddhism is named after Gautam Buddha. He was born at Lumbini about 2500 years ago. He wandered for several years, meeting and holding discussions with other thinkers. He finally decided to find his own path to realization and meditated for days on end under a peepal tree at Bodh Gaya in Bihar, where he finally attained enlightenment. After that he was known as Buddha or the Wise One. He spent the rest of his life traveling on foot, going from place to place, teaching people, till he passed away at Kushinara. Teachings. The main teachings of the Buddha are the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The Four Noble Truths. The world is full of suffering. The main cause of suffering is desire. One must get rid of desire to end suffering. To end desire and hence suffering, one must follow Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path. Right thought. Right belief. Right speech. Right action. Right means of livelihood. Right effort. Right memory. Right meditation. He believed that if a person followed the Eightfold Path, he could lead a balanced life. He said that a person should neither live in great luxury nor should he give up everything and suffer. Leading a balanced life would help person attain moksha and nirvana. The Buddha taught in the language of the ordinary people, Prakrit. Jainism. Vardhamana Mahavira is associated with Jainism. The Jains believe that Mahavira was the last of the 24 Tirthankaras, or great teachers. His message was also spread around 2500 years ago. For 12 years he led a hard and lonely life, at the end of which he attained enlightenment. Mahavira believed in leading a simple life. He believed that every living being has a soul. Therefore, one should follow the principle of non-injury and do no harm to any living being. Even the unconscious killing of an ant is a sin. Mahavira believed in leading a simple life. The goal of life according to Mahavira was to set the soul free and not to be born again in this world. This could be achieved through the Triratnas of life. These are right belief, right knowledge, right action. Mahavira did not believe in the caste system. He believed in karma and that good karma could liberate a person. He believed that men and women who wished to know the truth must leave their homes. There were several forms of Prakrit spoken in the country, like the Prakrit spoken in Magad was known as Magdi. Followers of Mahavira had to lead simple lives, begging for food. They had to lead a life of honesty. They had to practice a life of celibacy and also had to give up their clothes. It was very difficult for most men and women to follow such strict rules. Thousands left their homes to learn and teach this new way of life. Jainism was supported mainly by traders. Over hundreds of years, Jainism spread to different parts of North India and to Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. The teachings of Mahavira and his followers were transmitted orally for several centuries. They were written down in the form in which they are presently available at a place called Vallabhi, in Gujarat about 1500 years ago. Types of Buddhism. Earlier there was Hinayana Buddhism, but later a new form of Buddhism, known as Mahayana Buddhism, developed. Once they attained enlightenment, they could live in complete isolation and meditate in peace. Statues of the Buddha were made. Many of these were made in Mathura while others were made in Taxila. The second was a belief in Bodhisattva. The worship of Bodhisattva became very popular and spread throughout Central Asia, China and later to Korea and Japan. Buddhism spread to western and southern India, where dozens of caves were hollowed out of hills for bhikkhus to live in. Buddhism also spread southeastwards to Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand and other parts of Southeast Asia including Indonesia. The older form of Buddhism known as Theravada Buddhism was more popular in these areas. The Upanishads. Around the time of Buddha and Mahavira there were many other thinkers. They were also trying to find the true meaning of life. The word Upanishad consists of 3 syllables. Upa means near, Ni means down and Shad means to sit. They discuss doctrines such as ideal human conduct, creation of the world, creation of man, the practice of yoga, meditation, karma and truths about life and death. He had a deep desire to learn about reality, was accepted as a student by a Brahmin teacher named Gautama and became one of the best known thinkers of the time. Stages of life, ashramas. Ashrama means a stage of life. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas were expected to lead simple lives and study the Vedas during the early years of their life, brahmacharya. Then they had to marry and live as householders, grihastha. Then they had to live in the forest and meditate, vanprastha. The system of ashramas allowed a person to spend some parts of their lives in meditation. Pilgrims. Pilgrims are people who undertake journey to holy places in order to offer worship. The best known of these are the Chinese Buddhist pilgrims, Faxian, who came to the subcontinent about 1600 years ago, Xuanzang came 1400 years ago, and I King came about 50 years after Xuanzang. They came to visit places associated with the life of the Buddha as well as famous monasteries. Xuanzang and other pilgrims spent time studying in Nalanda, Bihar, the most famous Buddhist monastery of the period. They follow the teachings of Buddha in all sincerity. The rules of the monastery are strict and everyone has to follow them.